Presented by That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster, this is Shonen Jumping the Gun! The show where we set our sights on the first chapter of a manga and decide if it's a misfire or a bullseye.
Let's see how many rounds are in this magazine.
Stop trying to make fetch happen! It's boys over flowers! Welcome everybody to Shonen Jumping the Gun. I am your red slip getter, Kermit the Grog, here with my bestie bitch, Brad, Isekai Sensei-Sama.
What's up, girl?
What's up? That's like not.
Let's get some shows.
It's some of the energy. It's from a different time.
I suspect that's the energy of the second chapter.
Or the follow-up series.
Oh, yeah.
Or the live-action show that shows up every time I Googled Boys Over Flowers. Despite it being, I'm pretty sure, based on this.
This was not as easy to find as it should have been.
Well, it was hard for you. I just found it on this is on the Shonen Jump app. We're covering Boys Over Flowers, a title that I have a really hard time now after trying to record the intro to not just say, Boys Over Flowers. For our little history starter, Boys Over Flowers, the original run of it, ran in Shueisha's Margaret magazine from October 1992 to January 2004 into 37 takeobons. It has numerous spin-off live-action adaptations and a sequel series that ran in Jump Plus. One of the reasons why this is for episode 40 in the middle of our romance arc is that this is the 35th highest sellingest manga of all time, the highest shojo on the list, and from my understanding also the highest romance. So I felt like it was a fitting thing to put into our romance arc for our pillar series that we talk about.
Spoilers, I couldn't tell from the first chapter.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a. This is gonna be a fun episode. I'm excited. And with that, let us start my Kermit's patented speedrun summary. This story takes place in. Oh, here we go. I should have said it aloud before we started. Itoku Academy.
I did not pay enough attention to the name of the school. It doesn't come up again.
Such a help. It comes up a lot, in fact. Maybe that was just because, hi, spoiler alert, I kept reading. This story takes place in Itaku Academy. Not Otaku. I'm bad at this. A private school for the very wealthy. We meet Tsukushi? You're not, I don't know why I asked you.
I'm not going to be helpful.
You're not You're never helpful. I don't know why I look over
I could not pay enough attention to this.
We're going to have words. We met Tsukushi, our femme protag, meeting her friend Makiko walking to school as a parade of high-end cars drop off the other students. We get Tsukushi's inner monologue, dropping the gem, I don't think there's a high school in the world more disappointed with life than me.
Which, come on. I mean, seriously?
Mwah, delicious. A wealthy student, Asai, brags to them about an incredibly expensive bag she bought and dunks on cheap vinyl bags.
Louis Vuitton.
Yes, which pisses
That's
off.
the one thing I remember.
Which pisses off Tsukushi. You read this earlier today. I'm gonna run at this statement. If we're already clashing here, and I'm second bullet point into this. A wealthy student, Asai, brags to them about an incredibly expensive bag she bought and dunks on cheap vinyl bags, which pitches off Tsukushi. They're cheap, durable, and waterproof. I'm not dunking on them to fit in, but she keeps these frustrations inside. We get to class and see a zombie-looking student, Kimoto. He's packing to leave Itoku, and no one will help him. He's been driven out by the F4. It's like a storm. Ostracized by the entire student body after getting the red slip. People want to help, but they don't want the same done to them. He tried to stand up to them and paid the price. All the rich students fawn over the F4 and talk about going to a disco after school, but Tsukushi must decline. She has to go work her part-time job. No, not for fun, but because she needs the spending cash. It's all so frustrating, these rich kids and their hypocrisy. Tsukushi finds her way to an outside staircase and shouts these frustrations into the world to blow off frustration. A very Bowie boy on the steps sees us and says, amazing. I'm guessing he's our main male love interest. Tsukushi's parents, despite not being well off, sent her to Itakao as it's the academy to get into, but she just doesn't belong. She just needs to keep her head down for 2 more years. Now she sees the F4 bullying a student helping clean up. He got dust on their pants, supposedly, and an apology is not enough. They must blow it off of their pants. Sakushi's looking gets them to kick the trash can she's holding over. Why are they like this? The boy from earlier, Ryu Hanazawa, we learn, helps her clean up. Is he interested? Cut to later, and Sakushi is at her job at a sweet shop talking to her coworker friend Yuki. Yuki goes to a different school and fawns over how interesting the guys at Itakao and the F4, the flowery 4, because they think they are like flowers. Sakushi rejects all this, saying, they look like supermodels on the outside, but inside they're ugly as sin, rotten through and through. Yuki tells Takushi that she was always good at spotting people's true intentions and jumping in to help when there was trouble. It's why she hates so many people at Itoku, their false smiles hiding their lack of courage to help people. Cut back to school with Takushi and Makiko having fun and hurrying off to music class. Makiko slips and falls down the stairs, landing a boot directly in the face of one of the 4 flowers. He's got dreads. Oh, no, wait. He has dreads, but also I wrote, dread builds of what is going to happen as Makiko furiously apologizes, and then Takushi comes forward and says, she's apologized. That should be enough. The F4 member says the middle-class trash sticks together, and this sets Takushi off as she calls them out for being small-dicked, wealthy know-nothings. Oh, but wait, did I just... Wow, I did not write this well.
How's it feel?
I know. But tonight's just a struggle, and I guess whenever I wrote this. I've had other ones where I've struggled writing the summaries, like English. Oh, but wait, did I just put my head up? Cut to tomorrow when she finds a red slip in her locker as Makiko turns away from her. Being so done with it all, she takes the slip over to the F4 and tapes them on each of the boys, saying, this is my declaration of war. End of chapter 1. Brad, I love this manga. I love this manga dearly. It feels like I'm reading an old American 80s movie somehow, even though this was written in the late 90s into the early 2000s in Japan. This feels like a time capsule of a time capsule.
That's probably why I don't like it.
Really?
I just do not jive with those 80s high school movies at all.
I didn't think I did, but I love hating the rich and the elite.
I mean, I can definitely get behind that. The ending was the best part of this chapter.
Yeah.
But like all of the stuff before that, I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Oh my gosh. I was not expecting this. This is interesting.
And you know, as always, it wasn't bad. I didn't think it was bad.
But you didn't like it, and that's okay.
It just didn't grab me in any way. And if anything, it just made me upset in a way that I didn't like. Like sometimes you get upset and it's fun to be upset and hate someone.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, just all of the bullying and absolutely no one even pretending that they're going to do something about it is just, I just...
It's a messed up system to be pushed back against.
And I'm sure that as we go later on in chapters that they'll do something about it and more people will get on board with her war that she's going to have and all that. And that's great. But the fact that there was none of that until she was the only one who stood up and said, this is wrong.
Because nobody stood up before to them, and she's our main hero and is standing up to them.
Yeah.
We see exactly what happens to the people who don't. And like, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And then there's also an issue that I have where a lot of times it's hard to tell what's going on with the art.
Really?
And this is just an issue that I seem to have with older stuff in general. You guys haven't heard this episode yet, but just 2 days ago, I recorded the Poe Clan with Ben, Heroin Addiction. It'll be out by the time you guys are hearing this, but Kermit, you haven't heard it yet.
No, I have not.
That is a manga that started in 1972.
Wow. I'm older than this by multiple
actually,
decades.
It's still coming out.
Wow. Insanity.
In various forms. But there was a bunch of stuff in there, and I said this in the episode, where it's like, I have a hard time following what's supposed to be going on. And sometimes that's intentional in like sort of dreamy sequences
like
and stuff.
Chaotic moments or
But if I can't tell what's going on panel to panel, what the flow is panel to panel when just normal stuff is happening, that's a detriment. And I think for whatever reason, it wasn't until like sometime in the 90s where more artist sort of started to understand how things needed to flow together.
I wish I didn't love this manga enough that you saying that feels like an affront to my sensibility.
If you read
I know
it,
you're not being mean.
if you read it and it flows for you, then that's great. It just wasn't working for me.
I rode the vibes. It felt I'm just so surprised and flabbergasted that this manga written in Japan from the late 90s, early 2000s feels like an American piece from the 80s.
I mean, that's
and not even through a
probably
Japanese lens necessarily, because usually it's like, oh, you're getting this through a lens, so it has its like, or they're doing their, whatever story they're telling, and it has like pieces of that, but it doesn't. But like, it's never felt so like, oh, of course,
that's the right time frame for
it to have hit
someone
Japan.
in Japan to be really into 80s high school movies.
Somebody, but like very specific, like it's the Ferris Bueller's, it's the Breakfast Club, it's Pretty in Pink, it's other ones, and I don't adore those movies really. Like normally I don't like them, but there's just something about this that made it feel.
I do like Ferris Bueller.
So, I do like Ferris Bueller.
A lot of that though is down to the cinematography, because Ferris Bueller, the cinematography in that is immaculate.
I do want to rewatch
the story itself. I don't really care that much about.
It's a vibe. And that's what this is. But like, I think there was just something about it feeling like familiar, and then what it was about, and having a main character who's not this like demure little shy girl having to break. It's like, no, she's a firecracker trying to make her way in the world. Yeah. And I was just like, yes, I want more protagonists like this. I don't think you learn it for a couple chapters, because every so often, and I'm very curious what was there before, because I think there's one in the first chapter where there's like a little panel in one of the other panels that's like the author talking to you and thanking you for buying the volume. So it was like, what was there before?
Right.
Because every so often, and they're not usually like the end of chapters, they're like in the middle. It's very strange, and it's like, I wonder what was there before the like book came out.
It might have been like ads.
That was my thought, was ads, because I've never seen ads in page before. But I guess we don't get the literal magazine, but like that would be a different page, not taking up a panel on something. But maybe that was just how that magazine did it. Maybe Margaret or whatever the heck it was called.
It might also be that this chapter just wasn't long enough for me, because one of the issues here were in the romance arc, there wasn't any romance in this. It was
in what I've read, there is definitely the question of the relationship has been present, but it's been more of a school drama than that. But it's constantly, you get just the lightest of the hook of like, hey, this boy is maybe interested. I don't even think you learn in the first chapter he's one of the F4.
No, you do. Yeah, okay. He's hanging out with them.
Yeah.
And near the end, when the one guy gets kicked in the face, he's there, and like when she makes whatever comment, he looks at her and he's like, that's really harsh or something like that. And I'm like, dude.
He's mysterious. He's hard to get a read on.
But he's hanging out with some dickheads.
Yeah, I know, but he doesn't like... That's what's compelling to me. I don't know. Brad, I don't know what to tell you. I was compelled by the possibility of this romance and wherever the heck this relationship is. I love somebody trying to fight up against the elites and make their way in things. Like, it just... I didn't know it's what I needed, but I just like could not stop myself and kept reading it. What do you think, because I've read ahead a little bit, so I can't play that game as much. What do you think is going to happen?
I'm not entirely clear what the red slip means, besides the fact that I guess everyone shuns them.
Yeah, you have been ostracized.
But like, why did that kid have to quit school because of that? Why did he lose a ton of weight because of that? Like,
because do you know? Oh, that's the missing piece. That's why you don't get this. You didn't go to high school.
Well, that's true.
You don't get it. like you got to, like, I know homeschooling probably had its own things, but like the ability, like when you have to get loaded on a bus and get taken away your home to a place where people can just, like, your life can just be hell. People can just make your life hell for no reason because you're all children and nobody knows any better. And you're full of hormones and you're bumping into each other, metaphorically or physically. Like, that's what this is. And did I go to elite school where all this bullying happened to that level? No, but like, I know what that can be like, and that suffer, like that opening line. I think I was like, I feel this, and you were like, I don't know how you really felt about that line about the most disappointed or whatever the wording was, but it's just
It was so overdramatic.
But that's you have not experienced that, like, and like again, not that it happened to me, but it's just like, if you can turn an entire thing where it's like you have no friends here, no one is helping you, everybody is actively messing with you. I mean, I don't think we don't see it in this first chapter, but like there are like just randomly like people will start throwing eggs at her in class and just throwing shit at her and like just being awful with no repercussions. And it's like that would just be like, F it. I don't care how much of this gives me like a big leg up when I get into college and the working force. Like, this is destroying me. And I think you just don't. Your face is leading me to believe like you just don't have that as a sense of concept in your body.
I understand bullying.
Yes, but like, imagine it was you. Like, imagine it is every day that everybody who used to like. Imagine if every coworker you had actively scoffed at you, and drug their heels and was mean to you and like put shit in your coffee and like took your leftovers if you had for lunch, or just were like actively like ostracizing, like truly, like you wouldn't want to work there. But it's school, like you can't leave unless things get really bad because you're a child. I don't know what battle,
because
I feel like you're talking to me. I'm talking to you.
But here's the thing: I read lots and lots of manga that are set in high schools that have drama in them, and
none of them have ever felt this one. None of the ones that I've ever read have felt like this. None of them ever felt like, oh, of course, America. Like they've never felt. I've never felt like a meaningful connection to the school experience.
Maybe that's why, because there's something about American high school and American high school drama that I didn't even think I liked that. Like I don't seek that out. I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did, but it just clicked something in my head. I think we're at cross purposes in a way that I don't know if we want to necessarily get into things. But Brad, it's time. I want to invoke High Noon in the other direction. I want to do it because you have not said like a glowingly positive thing yet. And I'm just so excited to have these moments because they don't show up a lot because usually it's the other way around. Well, I won't go with the easy one, which is down with capitalism.
Yeah.
Eat the rich, which you already said.
Mm-hmm. Stretch for it.
Oh my God.
He's breaking.
Part of the problem.
He's breaking. The thing that Brad. This is one of our supervillain origin stories. I just don't know whose yet.
There's like, the first half of this, I barely remember anything.
And you read it hours ago.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I can't. This is so
weird. Not the manga is pretty bad.
No, I know, but it's just like it just so didn't.
It just didn't. It didn't.
It's just so weird how actively it did not speak to you and how much it spoke to me. We've never been at this cross purposes before. It's very odd.
I'm just trying to think of the stuff that happened. I
read the summary. You don't remember any of that?
I guess I'll this is too safe, so I lose. But she's a strong girl.
I'll take it.
That's good.
I don't think I ever fully struggled with it, but to your point, sometimes the way where you're at and time-wise moving around can be a little too dreamy. I generally could follow what was going on. It's a vibe-based manga, at least for me. But yeah, sometimes it can be more vibes than structure, which I will submit to that. Want to know another thing?
I don't know. Mine was a good one, and yours was just sort of like, this might not be great.
I liked it. I wanted to keep reading it. I don't know what to tell you.
I think I might have to claim victory there.
What?
I might have to.
No.
Yours was that was such a non-answer.
Hey, what did I say? 18th sellingest manga of all time, highest selling shojo of all time,
Did
highest
you say
selling
36.
Did I say 36?
38.
I think no. I said 36 tankobons.
Oh.
Oh no, you're right. 37 tankobons, 35th highest selling manga of all time.
I split the difference.
Highest selling shonen or shojo, highest selling romance. I'm new. For once, I'm in the majority. For once, I'm on top. For once, society has my back. That this was a big hit. I would love to know when it got released over in America, if it did, and if it had a following, because this just feels so like it's not trying to play on America, but it just feels so familiar.
Yeah.
In a great way. I don't know. The one thing I wanted to say is in a later chapter when you have the little author inserts is she talks about being a big fan of pro wrestling and people always being surprised about that. And and when I read that, I'm like, that makes sense with this because she is these F4 guys. These are wrestling heels. They are doing some heinous shit, and you want to see the bad guy get beat, and that's what this is.
Yeah,
it's big over the top drama in a familiar space, and I respect that.
I'll tell you what. I'll read another 4 or 5 chapters.
You didn't have a good time with it. I don't.
No, I think it's worth, given how it ended, and given what you've described. I think it's worth looking at more.
Okay.
In the same way that you will read more of my dumb isekai.
Yes.
I will read more of your old shojo.
My old shojo. A shojo that I am older than.
And if there's something to it, I will definitely speak up in the Discord when this episode drops.
Okay. I won't even hold you to that. If you want to do that, you can do that. I will not pester you. I will not prod you. If you want to talk about it more, if you've read it, you can do so. And if you don't, you don't have to.
I'm going to do it because this should be up my alley. It really should be, given everything else we know about me.
Yep. And it shouldn't be for me, for knowing everything else we know about me. And yet, here we are. It's what it was. I was so excited to read more of it. I'm having a grand old time. I'm so excited to see how this girl stands up to these bullies and how this romance shakes out. Like,
it's so weird how there's a bunch of anime that we both enjoy and we both talk about and gush over, and yet for all these manga we never agree on.
Because we're watching the shonen popular slop. I say slop lovingly to an extent. I shouldn't say slop. We don't watch slop for the most part. But we're watching the fucking Marvel movies. It's not that impressive that we're not at cross edges. Now especially with these arcs, we are exploring more out there territory where it's just like, I'm new to this genre. I've read a lot of the genre. I haven't. So I don't know. I think this manga is great. I would super buy the first volume because I essentially just could not help myself. But I try to hold back from reading more, and I could not. I had to go talk to Maxie because I had to talk to somebody about it.
37 volumes would be expensive.
Yes. I would buy the first one. I didn't say I'd buy all of it. I don't know yet. I gotta get back on it. I fell out of manga reading.
In case no one's heard by now, this will be, 4, 5 episodes? I bought the entirety of Sweat and Soap.
Oh yes, you haven't. That has not been on Mike yet. So yes, you did. Admittedly, that wasn't 37 volumes.
Yeah, what was it? It was 9 plus a bonus.
That sounds about right.
So, didn't get through it all yet, but thoroughly enjoyed.
This is technically our capstone to the romance arc. Now, of romance arc 1. we've already started. I've been already putting stuff in the backlog, but that's not going to be probably until next year. Deep into next year, because we've got a lot of other things to do. And also, technically, after this one, you will get what I can only describe as a bonus episode that is a mainline episode for Shonen Jumping the Gun.
That was a weird one.
It's a weird one. I'm very happy I covered it.
That should be the next episode. So
that will be the next one after this, because I believe you said the other ones for the mainline. Yeah. And that will be... I guess where else would we talk about it? How do we want to cap off Romance Arc 1? We covered 6 manga. Sign of Affection, Sweat and Soap. You and I are polar opposites. Whatever the dating... Crush at Work. Boys Over Flowers. And, spoiler alert, we're covering... What is it? Keiru and...
Nana and
Keiru, which is very spicy. And a very particular flavor.
And the magical revolution of the
reincarnated princess. Technically 7. We'll count it. 7.
And there might be a new Shonen Jump series in there somewhere. There should be one starting pretty soon at the time of this recording.
Hema 10 was the manga that started this entire journey of I can't hate all romances. And the answer is judging by our results, about 50%. Because what? I liked Sweat and Soap at the start until I got bored of it. It was not bad. I got bored because it just turned into a regular relationship, and it wasn't enough to keep.
God
my brain.
forbid you have a regular relationship.
I don't want to read about that. That's boring to me.
It's not a regular relationship.
No, but it's less spicy as the series goes on, and it settles in, and I'm sure it's very cozy. I've got no ill will against it. It's just I fell off the wagon. This is the burdens I bear as Red Oni. It's the ADHD mixed in. Wait, what did we started with? Sign of Affection I was like fine on. I don't think I read any more of that. Dating at Work I don't remember anything from. You and I Are Polar Opposites I adore. I keep the chapters of that on my Jump app for like rainy days because they are just such delights to read. I mean, your Isekai one was fine. I didn't really see the romance part of it yet, so I feel like the jury's still out on that. I love Boys Over Flowers, and I feel more positively about Nana and Keiru than Brad did, but that was very much a pinch hitter on my end, admittedly. So, I think what we learned is I need something else besides a straight romance.
Yeah.
Yes. I need a little extra. I can't just be cozy. I don't have the attention span for cozy, sadly. But yeah, Brad, what have you learned in Romance Arc? You had
not a fucking thing.
No, you didn't learn anything? I didn't learn anything.
I've liked most of these.
Okay.
I mean,
except the ones that I liked the most.
Well, yeah.
I don't remember. How did you feel about Polar Opposites? I don't remember.
It's good. I liked it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't, at the time of this recording, I haven't read more of it, but that isn't because I'm not going to.
Yeah, that one I would still definitely. I think of all the ones we covered. I mean, because what? That's the one new one we covered, right? That's like still coming out.
Newer, yeah.
Well, new.
Well, it's like 50-some chapters by now.
Is it 50?
It's a bunch.
I keep forgetting that the Shonen Jump app doesn't have all of it.
Yeah.
Right now, it's getting it in batches.
Oh yeah, yeah. On the Shonen Jump app, there's only like 20 or something.
It
like
is
that.
the only one I'm aware of that's still running. I guess your Revolutionary Girl.
Yeah,
Revolution Girl, not Revolutionary Girl Lieutenant. That's something else. Maybe
Crush at Work is still coming out. Although I think that might actually be done. It's just not all out
here.
Yet. And then
Nana's done. Nana Keiru's done.
Nana and Karo, I probably won't be reading any more of.
No, you won't. It's not for you. It's for sophisticated.
I'm not gonna dig that back up.
Don't. So what? We've ended this arc with us both throwing our hands up, going, "I don't freaking know."
Yeah, right.
I mean, what? We learned the thing of I like romances when something else is going on.
You like romances when there's something weird.
Yeah.
And
you like romances that are cozy,
regular romances, and
for adults,
quirky,
but not adults.
Quirky romances are good.
Yeah, but
not overly weird.
Yeah, weird, but not too weird.
Yeah,
play it safe. Be familiar. Yeah. I was hoping to have stronger, like more cohesive feelings at the end of this arc, but we don't. Which obviously means the anime keeps going, which means we're starting another arc, which, if you don't already know, the next arc, after you get our romance bonus episode for 41 of Nana and Keiru, we are starting the sports arc, which is something I know I love, and we're going to see if Brad feels similar.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Spoiler alert, I don't think so. We might have more of these reversed high noons. Who knows?
Oh, definitely. I will be surprised if there are any in the sports arc that I will continue reading.
You liked Green Greens, you son of a bitch.
I don't know.
You are not out of the woods yet.
I don't know what that was so out there. I was
tempted. Maybe I did talk about reading a not good one to properly level out your palate. Because as opposed to the romance arc we've had where it was like a kind of picky choosy of like, oh, this is interesting, this is different than these things, trying to get a variety. Like, I tried to just reach for oops all bangers, like oops all best of all times, oops all highest sellers. And I feel like we need like middle or not good ones. Probably by the time you hear this, most of the sports arc will be recorded, so that's not helpful here, but like, I have been tempted via the Shonen Flop connection to do either Beast Children or Robot Laser Beam.
I mean, I'd read the first chapter of both of those.
I do want to know. I feel like Beast Children would be very fitting because that's what the guy who made Greg and Greens made before, and it is notoriously bad on flop.
I am very
and I don't
curious
understand how bad it could be with after how much I loved Green Greens.
Because the thing,
like, they went into it like, oh my gosh, what a glow up. I'm like, really? You guys talk such shit about it. I need to know.
Hey, Shonen Flop, everybody who's listening. I just gotta say, like, a lot of times I listen to them and I just go, isn't that a bit harsh? Like, it is a little over the top, isn't it? So when they talk about Beast Children,
have you listened to your co-star in this show?
No. When I listen to them talk about Beast Children, I'm just like, could it really be that?
That's what I want to know. Okay, nope. Here, official. Beast Children is being added to Sports Arc. Done. I don't know where. I don't know where in the ordering. We will cover Beast Children.
And while I will say, to their credit, while they did create Certified Flop for Beast Children, it's not even close to the worst thing they've ever read.
No, but it's so wild that it started it.
It was
I need
just
to know.
The 4th episode. I think they said that was the 4th episode.
Okay, admittedly that was pretty early, so... I guess because this did not... I mean, I guess this felt like a pillar episode by virtue of it being the end of the arc.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess...
Even though it's not over yet.
No, but the question I want to ask you that I don't really know the answer to is... Why do you think this is the 35th most sellingest manga of all time?
Well,
I know you're not in an emotional position to answer that question.
Yeah, because if you ask me that, having read one chapter, and me looking at this and going, I'm not feeling this at all, I would go, I don't know. Why? Someone tell me. I can only assume that it's going to get way better, which is why I said I'll read a couple more chapters.
The way I want you to bottle the feeling you're feeling right now, every time you suggest me an isekai and it's like the most popular thing ever, that's how I feel. It makes me feel like a fucking crazy person.
There's a huge difference, though. No, there is. Listen.
There is not.
You don't like any isekai. I like all kinds of romance.
No, but isekai are super popular. There's a lot of super popular things I do not like.
Okay. Romance is super popular too.
Yes, and
I like a bunch of romance.
I like the most the financially speaking most popular romance manga ever written.
Yeah. And that's great for you.
It is.
I'm very happy.
I get to be inside for once. Have fun blowing on your hands and being cold for once.
I like the cold.
What's the shoot? I haven't brought that up forever. It's like there's that old charting meme of like the various like Nintendo franchises, and there's the ones where it's like they get a new like entry every year, and it's like would not be satiated with all of the treasures of the world.
Yeah.
That's you, and that remains you.
Which is why
you could eat forever and never be full.
When I read this romance and it doesn't hit me, I'm just like, what the heck is this?
Honestly, I don't know how this is as much as I love this, I'm so curious to know what Japan thought of this at the time, because there's nothing else. I've never read or seen anything marginally like this.
Yeah.
It's so not Japanese.
I just have to assume,
and that's so curious,
that at some point in the next 20 or so chapters, something really kicks off.
I think just what it is not for you. I think you have to accept that.
We might have to have an addendum episode after I read a couple more chapters.
By the time you read more chapters, we can just plug it onto the back of this already very long episode.
Yeah.
So, because we've got like a month.
It's longer than that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the episode. That is, at least in chronologically recording speaking, that is the romance arc. Which I guess means thank you for listening.
If you want more romance, check out Heron Addiction.
Yes. Or come to our Discord and suggest us to read them. And when we start Romance Arc 2 in a year's time, we'll give them a look. We'll give them a gander.
I think
I'll hurt your feelings. Or Brad will hurt my feelings.
I think for Arc 2, we will throw in a manhwa somewhere, which we'll try.
I'm very up for that.
See what we can do. I recommended a couple to you in the past that did not click, so I'll have to.
Brad, we are very good friends. You continue to not understand my taste even a little bit.
I'll have to plumb the depths and see what I can find.
Just ask Maxie. Maxie and I are plugged in on the same wavelength.
Does
very well.
Maxie read manhwa? I don't know if Maxie.
They might know something. I don't know. They know many things.
Hey, I know we have a bunch of people on the Discord who read manhwa. What do you think Kermit would like? Let me know.
You've listened to me ranting on a weekly basis. You can figure this out. But yes, thank you for listening. And Brad, hit me with them plugs.
As always, we need to thank Sugoi Mart for partnering with us. Sugoi Mart's a retailer of Japanese snacks, drinks, toys, and merch. All kinds of stuff you can't get outside Japan. Our listeners can check the link in the description or use code APR15 at checkout to get 15% off their first order. And we want to hear from you. So head on over to animepodcasterreincarnation.com and check out our social links page, where you can find links to all our social media, including our Discord, which is the best place to come and chat with us. We hang out there a lot. We have a lot of fun chatting with everybody who listens to the podcast. So join us there. You can also find a link to our Patreon on there. Our patrons get amazing perks like getting to vote on which series we cover on heroin addiction, bonus episodes, which there should be one relatively soon, and getting the high-quality stereo version of the podcast early. We also need to shout out our patrons. First and foremost, in our position of honor, we have the Noble tier, where we've got our marquee, Sir Cake Dwarf. At our Reincarnator tier, we've got Moon. And last but not least, at our Commoner tier, we've got Rena and Killhour. So thank you so much to all our patrons.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, everybody, again for listening. Make sure you listen to all the podcast series on our feed. And Brad, we were kind of confused at how we felt, or at least how I felt about our romance arc. So I got one of those flowers that lets you know if you love something or not. I love it. I love it not. I love it. I love it not. I love it. I love it not. Brad, that was the last petal. Oh, gosh. Guess we're going to need to find another flower. This is Boys Over Flowers. The boys are back in town. The boys are over flowers, yo. I want to comment. Don't you forget about. I mean, that's the credits,
the
but
end.
like, yeah, exactly. But that's what.
Don't you forget about me. Don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
the
what
rest
comes
of the
next?
words.
Because originally I was like, oh, yeah, the like weird vocal bits in the middle and not words, and I'm like, what song is this? But that's like the energy that I thought of when I was reading this, and I want to try to capture that, but I'm not sure how at the moment.
Dun, hey, yeah. Dun.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's the part I was trying to think of, and I'm like, what's the words? Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's boys over flowers. I almost turned into the dude from the B-52s. Boys over flowers. Because this is falsetto. I just sound like Mickey.
Yeah.
I just sound like Mickey Mouse when I'm talking in my falsetto. Ha ha! Ha ha! Eat the rich. It's boys over flowers. Ha ha!
It's boys over flowers.
Shoes. It's boys over flowers. Batch. It's boys over flowers, batch.
I can see that.
Stop it! Cut that shit out. I can still hear you. You're not stealth chewing. Yeah, I don't fucking care. I can still hear it. The microphone's very delicate.
I don't know what to do.
Brad, this is weird. Like, the novelty is nice, but the emotional feelings are not.
What part?
What?
When you...
We have not been at cross odds like this before. Usually you like something and I don't. And having it the other way around where I'm like... I mean, we kind of had it with Rookies, but I wasn't expecting it with this. Like, Rookies I got to an extent, but this one was a surprise to me.
It almost seems like there's just something about old manga that just doesn't work for me. And I don't know why.
It's not even that old.
You'll hear when you listen to the Poclan Heroin Addiction episode, but yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, like, objectively, this is fine, but I just don't click with it, you know?
I'm gonna have an old manga arc.
I said to Ben, I said, like, I'm glad that I read it because it's a look into history.
Yeah.
And as someone who is interested in these things, there's an academic side to it where it's like, this was important for me to read and see how this led to other things. But the experience in and of itself, like standalone, it just didn't do it for me. Now, with that, I was probably more positive on the Poclan than I was on this.
Yeah.
But also, I read a whole bunch of that.
Yeah, and you only got one chapter here.
Right. So, it's different. But
I know I came down on it because it's the coping mechanism of I'm accepting your emotion will not change, so I'm just trying to accept that it's just stuck there, that your opinion won't change of it. Like, read the other chapters. Like, genuinely from what you said, I don't think you're going to turn around if you were like just like actively like, I don't think something shows up of like, yes, now it's kicked in, but like maybe you'll find that, and I didn't notice that because I was already in on it, and I don't know the reasoning why. Like, the only thing I said in the episode is that, like, I think it's genuinely just you did not go to high school in the classic sense, and I think there's just something about that experience that bakes into your brain that makes this stuff, and I don't know.
I read all these other manga that are set in high school.
But none of them feel like American high schools.
Maybe.
Because they all feel foreign, and they, like, that's the thing. It's like reading this is like, this does not feel like it's from Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll find out.
Yep.
But
I feel like I had another thought. Oh, I'm slowly building. I don't know what it's called yet. I need some suggestions from you and or the peoples, because they can't all be from me, because it'll be things that I have, I guess, not read, but have watched. And the current, like, vague title I'm having to capture it is the Gonzo Horny arc. And it's mostly just because I was talking to Gray Potter about the sports arc, and they said, what about Keijo? And I was like, fuck, I didn't think of Keijo. Do you know Keijo? Keijo is that insane anime where it's women in bikinis battling with their boobs and butts to knock each other in the water, and it's insane. And that was like, okay, that doesn't go in the sports arc, but that should go somewhere amidst like items of just over the top, horny, wacky. Because then I thought about Killing Bites, which I had never read the manga for, and I love Killing Bites, which is also, I would say,
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Like, I think there are other things that fit this. Is High School of the Dead of that ilk?
Yeah.
Okay, I put that on there then. I've never read or seen that. I just have heard of it.
I wonder if Black Lagoon.
No. I've watched... Black Lagoon is not... I learned that was still going. Somebody said that in the Discord. I was like, what?
But isn't that weirdly horny?
It is, but not it's not gonzo. It's like, that's a fairly dark story that also happens to be horny. I want, like, wild, over the top